I am bringing to you Mr. Prakash Raghavendra, who is currently working as a Flex architect and also holds PhD from IISc. Before joining Adobe, he was working with HP as a he was working with HP till 2007, and he was managing the compiler team there, and also he has been with both managerial as well as technical positions. Now let's welcome Prakash. Okay, hello sir.
Hello Sadish.
Okay. Now, well, you have been in academia as well as in industry. Now, what has been your experience basically? What do you think? Whether academia, whether a young graduate, let's take an example of a young graduate who has just graduated from his engineering. He has completed his bachelor's. What is his advice to you? Do you expect him to enter the academia or the industry?
Yeah, that's a good question to start with, Sadish. If I look back, that sort of is a crossroad for everyone, especially if you are passionate about research or studies or higher studies. You'll have this dilemma in your career at least once in your life. So what I would suggest is, if you are keen on doing research, then probably academia is the way. So one way to know is, if you always want to know the answers, like why it is so, why it is that way, or you think that you can do something better than what exists. Probably your interest is towards to do some master's degree, at least a master's degree. Okay, so both have plus and minuses. Now, if you go to industry, it's more of a practical things. Like, you don't really look at pure research there, but it will be applying whatever you learned in your studies. But if you want to look at something like going deep into any particular area, probably that research is what you are looking for. Again, it comes by probably you need to introspect yourself and see what is best for you. It depends on your personality as well.
Okay, now what do you exactly mean by research? Research means like going, now generally as a general college graduate, when you say research, he will think about presenting papers and presenting something new, which is like most probably, and most of the projects what happens is getting into the artificial intelligence way. But when you see the industry, which most probably regards artificial intelligence as stupid because they require credibility and reliability. Now, okay, what is your experience of saying what exactly you mean by research?
Okay, that's a tough question. So research to me is knowing something deep. Okay, or you are capable of.
Do you mean by or research? Do you mean by knowing different available products?
No, it's depth versus breadth. So if you look at that way, in an industry you will have breadth of knowledge. A researcher will have a depth of knowledge in a domain. So if you say you are doing research in some particular domain, let's say compilers or operating systems or computer architecture, so you know that subject well in depth. In an industry, you will have a breadth of knowledge. Probably you may not know the current trends, latest trends in any area, but you will have breadth of knowledge. So that again depends on the inclination of a person. So whether he likes, I have seen mindset of people who have both the mindsets in industry. Some people really struggle doing a good programming. For example, let's take a typical customer support engineer who's asked to fix bugs. So he generally, let us say the mindset is he wants to look at something deep. Then probably he is not in the right job, because he always tries to look at why is it so, and then he probably may not be able to fix that bug, which is what is required, which has to be fixed in a week or so. So it depends on what is your inclination.
Okay, and again, like you chose to do PhD from IISc. But as most of my friends, they have opted for PhD from some US universities, and most of them generally go to, college toppers generally nowadays opt for MS from US universities. They don't tend to enter the Indian academia. Now, what are your suggestions about this? Do you think that higher education in US is really better than what it's there in India, or is it just a perception?
Okay, that's a good question. So this again is a dilemma people will have whenever they want to do a MS or a PhD. I would say Indian universities, some of the Indian universities we have are top class, and then it's comparable to the best in the world. And then there are universities in US which are definitely better than, for example, Indian Institute of Science or Math Science in Chennai and Bangalore, Indian Statistical Institutes. There are better institutes in US as well, but there are some few institutes which are comparable to the best in the world. So that again, that depends on your where do you want to do. And then if you look at a little more carefully, there are some areas which are very good in IISc. For example, if you know, I admire Professor C.N. Rao, who has done excellent research, world-class research in solid state chemistry. I think he has done the pioneering work in that area, which is better than anyone in the world. So if you are looking at particular area, and then if you choose, instead of just going by Stanford or MIT or IISc, depending on your area of interest, there will be definitely an institute which is better for you. So that makes that difference. That makes your choice easier.
Okay. Again, speaking about this, like, do you really think? Okay, again, most of them actually end up with the MS and not continue with the PhD. Do you really think higher education at some point in time, not now, maybe at some when you cross a certain age, if you look back, do you really think PhD added value to you and there was some value addition as a person and to you as a PhD?
Okay. So there are two sides of the same coin here. So in one way, if you look at it, you may feel that I have spent more time in academics. For example, by the time I entered the industry, my batchmates, my classmates were already ahead in terms of their earnings or whatever. They had already probably bought a car or more or less settled in their life. But when I entered the industry, more or less I had started from scratch. Okay, that way it's a negative thing. Okay, you have started somewhere, but you are really not up there when you compare your careers. But on the positive side, if you have done higher education, at least an MTech or a PhD, it will definitely help in your career in one way or another. For example, let us take a typical case of a growth. For example, how does it help in promotions? If you have an added degree, then in some way, people may not admit that, but they will consider your additional degree as something which is a plus for you. Okay. Of course, I'm not saying only that will help, but of course, if two people are comparable in their performance, additional degree will help, number one. The other side, added to this, if you have a PhD or some other qualification, it may not be PhD, it could be anything which you have an added thing, for example, some communication skills or whatever. It definitely adds to your profile. Okay, it makes you more confident. In fact, in my experience, one of the reasons I have been successful is because of the tag PhD. So if I tell somebody that I am a PhD, I am a doctorate in something, people give me merit. People give me some points free of cost. I mean, you need not prove that you are good in something. So that way, it has value.
That means okay, let me state like this. Do you always feel a certification is very important?
It gives you some starting point. I would say that it gives you some starting things. But of course, you have to prove yourself to be good in industry. But it gives you a good start.